if we're flipping into the isometric mode, most of it is going to start, in my opinion anyway, I would start in the front. I think it's the easiest. Again, it's kind of the more detail of the view. So the way I'd handle that guy is I would go axis end ellipse, ISO circle, and then wherever you're going to start this guy, we're doing a 25 radius, right? So that guy, we would start with 25. Now the reason I picked this particular drawing is because it deals with the lack of, in some cases, and the presence of, in other cases, quadrants. Okay? So as you can imagine, the quadrant in an isometric is also rotated 30 degrees. So whereas it would normally be at the top of the circle, bottom of the circle, left and right, it's now clocked 30 degrees to match every other part of the projection. So in that case, our quadrant, you're going to notice, is over here, which in a second is going to be awesome, but for right now, you can kind of see that snap is not really awesome because I don't need it there, right? I really need it here at the top, which it's not. So that forces me to draw a line from the center, and I'm just going to make my own quadrant. Okay? So all I've done there is I've just said, look, I need a quadrant snap at the top of that circle in order for this line to attach to. I think you would agree with that, right? Because that's exactly how we handled this guy, right? We used the quadrant snap for this line right here. So we just need to make that because we currently don't have a quadrant. Like I said, that's the entire reason that I picked that, is just to demonstrate how that is and isn't useful sometimes. Okay? So all I've done is taken a line, I've gone from the center just straight up and straight down. And you can do it all as one if you want, that's fine too. But now from the intersection of that guy, I'm going to go, so I just have my intersect snap there, and this is going to be 36, right? You guys know that part. Same thing at the bottom, 36. And then I'm just going to connect those two together. And at that point, I don't really need those for anything else, so I'm just going to delete those lines. And lose anybody on that? All right, so now I have this ear on this bracket. I'm just going to trim out that part of the circle. I don't need that anymore. So there is, I hope it should look the same as your source. Yeah? No? Corey? Don't love it?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay.
You're good.
So from there, I mean, you could address this a couple of ways. You can go ahead and put the ISO circle in the middle if you want. This, if you remember, is the diameter. They tell you it's an 18, so you could plop that guy. Some people go on to the corner, and you know they build that part. There's no order of operations in this that makes it successful versus unsuccessful, but however you want to do that. So if you want to put the circle in, great. If you want to go to the next part, what I did is I said I want a line from this corner, and I just toggled to the top view because it tells me that this guy is 22 from the corner there and 22 from the corner there. Okay, that's all I did right there is these two lines. Still good? Say something if you're stuck. So those two I'm just going to connect. I know that they connect top and bottom, so there's my inside corner there. Worked out pretty well. And again, you know, you can keep going wherever you want from this. So some people really like to continue, and they say, look, I know that this thing is 24. I know that this thing is 24. And then I'm gonna connect the two of those, which you'll see here in a second why. Okay, so all I've done there is drawn these guys. They're 24. From there, I'm going to toggle to the front left plane, whatever you want to call that, again, and I'm going to put in at the center of this line, right, I made that guy, it's really 25 tall, so I'm going to put in an iso circle there, and I'm going to use the midpoint of this guy, so that's why I connected it. You don't have to, but I'm going to specify the midpoint of that guy. And this dude's gonna be 25. And just like the front view, this is where people get kind of confused. It's gonna overrun that corner, right? If you remember doing the front view of this thing, the same thing happened. So from there, what I'm gonna do is,
See my little son.
did you draw this line as one continuous line?
Mm-hmm.
So you drew these. 24, and then just connected from top to bottom. You put an iso circle, the midpoint of this dude.
Axis end.
Yep, axis end. Iso circle.
ISO circle. And it's either giving me the top corner or the
Oh,
bottom.
you gotta click your midpoint snap on. Turn on your object snap. This guy.
I thought it was on.
Is it unchecked with this one? So leave that dude.
There we go.
And then we're just gonna trim that guy. So that gives me the other ear, and again, I don't need that line permanently, it's just for layout. Still good? Feedback is overall.
Yes, it's good.
Yeah.
Keep
You're
it
doing
coming. Keep it coming.
phenomenal.
I love it. Nothing like drawing in silence. So, the next part of this guy, I'm going to toggle to the top view. Now, they tell you here that this guy is 15, yeah? See that? So what I'm going to do is, and you could attack this a variety of ways, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line that's going to go back from this center, 15. Okay. What that's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to copy some features over here that I need. Okay, so all I'm doing is, if you want to watch this and then I'll do it again, I'm going to copy that guy and that guy from this center point back 15. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. All right?
Why not to all the way to the end point?
You could. You mean like all the way out here?
No, to the corner.
Here?
No. Okay, see where the line ends?
Here?
No, go to the closest line on that, on the top.
That'll give you a hotter shoulder, man.
Okay, see where the line in the circle is? Now, if you go to the first point on top,
Here?
just point to it, I can see where you're pointing. Oh, no, point to your design. Yeah, no, you did, there's a, point to go right there.
Oh, because that ends up being this corner.
Oh,
See that back? I know it's kind of deceiving. You think it's that one?
yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's not yet. We didn't get that far yet. All right, so like I said, I put just a 15 millimeter line here, and I'm gonna copy this. And you could draw another, you could certainly just draw another circle if you want. If you wanted to do this, this is equally as good. If you wanna do that, it's fine, no big deal. But just because I already had this, I'm just gonna copy these guys. I think it's a little faster to do it. Okay. Again, there's not a right or wrong way to do that, but. So I get something that looks like that. So I'm gonna trim this guy, because I clearly don't need all that. Right? So get rid of that stuff so it's not confusing. Did I lose anybody on that part?
No.
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 So I can do the same thing over here. I can take from this center, and they tell me this guy is 16, right? And it's gonna be the same operation. I'm gonna copy that guy and that guy from the end to the end on that guy. And again, I'm just gonna trim the bottom of this thing just to get rid of it, because I know it doesn't shine in there. So now you can kind of start to see I have this thing kind of built. As Ben pointed out, this line is a little whacked. I gotta come back and deal with that in a second. But I wanna box these things in. So the part that's fairly difficult to see is there is a line right there and a line right there. And both of those guys are actually quadrants. Remember we talked just a minute ago about how inconvenient it was not to have a quadrant snap. But at this point, I'm gonna use that quadrant snap to complete these guys. So I'm just gonna go quadrant to quadrant. See that? See this line right here? I'm just gonna use that quadrant snap now, and I'm just gonna connect those guys. And that's gonna give me that line there. And then I can trim that little dude away. Pretty awesome. And the same thing at the other, I'm gonna go from quadrant to quadrant here. And that's gonna get rid of that piece too. So again, I can just trim that part away. Okay. So let me do that again so you can see.